Welcome to session 4, Epistemological Equity, when bodies or whose bodies of knowledge, literal and metaphoric, are included in your curriculum. The nature of what is considered and valid and valuable knowledge, ways of knowing and knowers, determines who is admitted into higher education, what is studied, what is funded, how ideas are investigated and communicated, and how these ideas are adopted or adapted by industry and communities more generally. In other words, the bodies of knowledge, the what and the who, the focus, the value of the what, the academic activity within education systems are all related to epistemology, a branch of philosophy concerned with knowledge. And the epistemologies employed in the academy impact what we understand as valuable knowledge, and it helps us shape the way that we live. So it's really important to consider who and what we include in our curricula. Yet traditional or certain bodies of knowledge and knowers have been privileged in higher education over others. These include bodies of knowledge and knowers from male, often white Western backgrounds and schools of thought. The problem with privileging a relatively narrow framework of knowledge and ways of knowing means that we are prevented from engaging in a diversity of approaches and lenses through which we might investigate or research phenomenon. This prevents us, obviously, from creating new knowledge, new ways of knowing, and even interrogating existing knowledge forms and processes. Second, people who do not identify as male, often white Western, and their experience and lenses are often omitted from or marginalised or considered lesser within the academy because their knowledge and them as knowers are considered less valuable. In this context, epistemological justice, or the inclusion of a diversity of knowledge forms, ways of knowing and knowers, is an educational equity strategy and really essential to the work of the academy, for which a key focus is developing new knowledge and new ways of knowing. And we can understand how this would relate to gender, because often if we're not engaging in women's ways of knowing, and I know that that is a contested concept, this dichotomization of male and female, but if we're not actually expanding our lens beyond the male, then we're obviously restricting the ways of knowing that those women and gender diverse people would potentially be engaging in. So education systems, especially in higher education, are criticised for employing this very narrow and androcentric, westernized epistemological lens, which dominates the academy and serves to maintain a deeply embedded inequity or inequities within each disciplinary field. For universities to be fully inclusive, including gender, epistemological expansion or the extension of knowledges and ways of knowing and knowers is required. This process of diversifying epistemological ways of knowing or epistemologies within the academy is known as epistemological plurality and epistemological equity. It's really worth considering, and I'll give you some prompts in the next activity, how you might expand the diversity and the epistemological range through which your students might engage in their disciplinary field investigation. Thank you.